Yes, I know I am discussing this movie super late, but this needs to be discussed. So here I am. Homebound has been making waves ever since it received a 9-minute standing ovation at the Cannes Film Festival, and for good reason. It's also India's official entry to the Oscars this year. When I walked into the theatre, I was genuinely surprised to see it almost full long after its release. That's the power of word of mouth and social media. This film needs to be experienced for its realism, for its dark reflection of rural India, for its brilliant performances, and for the ambition behind it. Because this film moves from a story of aspiration to one of survival and finally reckoning. Directed by Neeraj, Homebound is based on a 2020 New York Times essay by Bashrat Peer titled Taking Amrit Home. Sadly, right before the film starts, there's a disclaimer claiming it's fictional thanks to CBFC's interference, which is disappointing but unfortunately not surprising. This board continues to act more as a moral gatekeeper than a creative regulator. Anyways. Firstly, a big thanks to Dharma Productions and Karan Johar for clarifying that they did not mean they would stop supporting projects like this in the future just because of low box office collections. This clarification was truly necessary because if films like Homebound don't receive enough backing and encouragement, then honestly, what's the point of having cinema at all? Now, coming to the storyline. The film centers on two childhood friends from a small village in India, one Muslim played by Ishaan Khatter and one Dalit played by Vishal Jethwa. Both dreams of joining the police force, believing that the uniform will finally bring them the dignity and respect denied to them by fate and caste. But as they prepare for the national exam, their friendship is tested by prejudice, bureaucracy, and the quiet cruelty of society. Set against the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic and India's migrant crisis, the story connects personal ambition to the larger socio-economic wounds of the country. The film explores many themes joined together beautifully by the director in the form of impact of Dalits and religious minorities like Muslims in modern India, how these identities shape opportunity, aspiration and dignity, structural discrimination, rural spaces, migration, hope and despair, friendship and fracture. Actually, the bond between the two friends is at the heart of the film. How external pressures, internal contradictions, and societal forces challenges that bond. Indian government examination reality, the belief that one test can change your fate. It's a film that studies friendship born out of poverty and tested by survival. Let's get the minor critiques out of our way first. The first half feels a bit slow, meditative even. A tighter edit could have trimmed some repetition. And Janhvi Kapoor's subplot, especially the half-baked romance angle, feels underdeveloped and unnecessary. It's my major grind and it's irritating. More on that in a bit. Homebound is not just a film. It's a mirror. It reflects how the desire for dignity can be crushed, not by a single villain, but by the weight of the system itself. It's the kind of the film that leaves you completely silent when the credits roll, because sometimes words just feel inadequate. Dialogues like यूनिफॉर्म तो सबको एक जैसी लगती है, पर अंदर के लोग कभी बराबर नहीं होते. Hits home. They are so deeply rooted in the truth that no one can take away the feeling they leave behind. What also needs to be acknowledged is the cinematography. It captures everything raw and real. The harsh reality of 20-30 people sharing one tiny room, even the same bed, living the same unmoving life. People working in factories where labor laws don't even apply to them, and yet somehow finding joy in small fleeting moments. The kind of moments we urban folks don't even notice. One particular scene stands out, where people are treated cruelly because of the caste. They talk about disparities openly, refusing to eat meal prepared by a Dalit, allowing them only small menial roles like cleaning. And all of this happens against the backdrop of Ambedkar's photo or statue. I mean, wow, it's a very powerful scene. The same goes for how the film depicts the struggles of migrants during the COVID-19 pandemic. People trying desperately to reach home, not because they wanted comfort or to be with their families, but because home was the only means of survival. Otherwise, there was neither a roof over their heads nor food to eat. Those pandemic sequences hit really hard, showing people walking hundreds of kilometers, not out of nostalgia, but out of sheer desperation. It reminds you that while some of us struggle to stay indoors, others actually struggle to simply stay alive. Yes, everyone had their own hardships. Many of us lost loved ones, but this film forces you to see the other side of the reality. People walked endlessly, almost like crazy, just to reach home. There was no help, no support, trains overloaded, lives lost, people disappearing into nowhere. It's all too real, and it's something that can't just be watched. It needs to be felt and experienced. And what truly amplifies the emotion? The absence of background music. Just silence. Pure uncomfortable silence. It makes every emotion, every breath, every tear hit harder. Anyways, moving to the supporting actors. Especially Shalini Vatsa as Vishal Jethwa's mother. She deserves a huge shout out. They don't support the leads. They complete them. Which is actually what supporting actors really mean. Now coming to the leads. Ishaan Khatter. If nepotism has to exist, then it needs to exist in this form and manner. He's a brilliant actor and I've been rooting for him since his debut, especially after his work in A Suitable Boy. Unfortunately, he hasn't been utilized to his full potential, which is why it's disheartening to see him take up something like The Royals. But here, oh man, he acts so brilliantly that you would never believe he grew up surrounded by the privileges of the film industry. He truly deserves so much more, and filmmakers need to cast him in the projects that let him showcase that immense range of talent. This is the defining performance for sure of his career. His eyes constantly measuring risk, his restrained portrayal, deliberately avoiding loud emotional outbursts, adds incredible gravity to the role. The pain and the dignity in his silences say far more than any dialogues could. Ishaan Khatter holds the entire film together with a quiet, lived-in realism that's rare to see in mainstream cinema today. And that final sequence of his, oh my god, the audience was completely engrossed. You could feel his pain radiating through the screen. I know I did. That end despair sets a performance benchmark that most actors today simply cannot reach. Vishal Jethwa. If there's anyone who could have done justice to the role of Chandan, it's Vishal Jethwa. And not only he did justice, he brought soul to the character. He portrayed the vulnerability of a man torn between survival and dignity. Someone who doesn't know what to do or how to do it, but keeps pushing for his family's sake. His portrayal of Chandan, an impulsive, emotional, deeply royal, contrasts beautifully with Ishaan Khatter's calm and restrained character. Together, they create a balance that feels raw and real. Vishal Jethwa delivers a performance filled with physical intensity. He's the emotional counterpart to Ishaan's stillness. Vulnerable, volatile, funny, and tragic. Sometimes all within a single scene. He captures the helpless rage of someone who can see equality but can't reach it. It's heartbreaking but powerful. Honestly, if these two actors don't win awards next year, then whatever 0.1% credibility Bollywood and its awards still have will completely be doomed. Moving on, my top contenders for this film actually, or this kind of role, apart from Ishaan and Vishal, were Siddharth Chaturvedi and Adarsh Kaurav. These four possess exceptional acting range. It's just sad. It's really sad that Bollywood isn't exploring their potential as much as it should be. Now, moving to my biggest gripe with the film, Janhvi Kapoor. Two things needs to be discussed. One, how the character was written, and two, the actor chosen to portray it. Let's be honest. Her character felt half-baked, underdeveloped, and included just for the sake of being there. I understand the intent. She was supposed to serve as a bridge between two worlds, adding a feminine and moral perspective to the film's question of belonging. But the execution, it could have been better, much better. And the casting, that's another issue. No, she didn't look like someone struggling in life. No, she didn't come across as a middle class. And no, the struggles weren't reflected in her performance, unfortunately. It was a very basic acting from a good-looking star, but it didn't contribute meaningfully to the film's larger theme. She felt misplaced. She felt like a sore thumb. Some critics said she showed emotional range and vulnerability. My answer? No. With barely 5 minutes of screen presence, neither her accent matched her class portrayal, nor did her overall personality align with the role of a middle-class, genuinely struggling person. I genuinely feel that someone who knows the ground reality, someone who's lived that struggle, would have brought far more authenticity and left a lasting impact for sure. But then again, it's a Dharma production. One of them has to be there, right? So let it be. What's even sadder is how she's being promoted as if she's the main lead. She's not! The heart and soul of this film are Ishaan Khatter and Vishal Jethwa. They deserve every bit of the limelight and all the applauses. At the end, I just want to say that if we don't support films like Homebound, then we lose the right to complain about the lack of quality cinema in India or in Bollywood whatsoever. This is the kind of movie that doesn't just entertain, it enlightens. Years from now, people will call it a cult classic the way they talk about Swadesh today. If you have already seen it, tell me your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't, please do watch it once it's available on Netflix. And when the credits roll, don't clap. Just sit in silence. Because that silence, it's the loudest applause this film deserves. Thank you for watching.